Here we go. Good morning. Let's start over again. Good morning. Good morning. It is a fantastic Friday. So we're just talking about ahas from James Schiff, script practice, or any good things. So I was saying how I like this week in script practice, how Chris was really breaking down those different personality types and how to work with those different personality types. And surprisingly, most people in real estate agents, most of the time are like D's and I's, high D's and I's. They're just all over the place, right? But they said 67% of people are high S's, right? Which I'm a high S. I don't seem like it, but I definitely am. Okay. So if you don't know how to deal with that S personality, then 67% of the people you might not be connecting with, right? So what are your ahas around knowing personality types, what their fears are, and how to communicate with them? What's your thoughts around that?
I need to do the test so that I know where I am, because I don't even know where this is.
Gotcha. Absolutely. Take the DISC personality test online. So when you take the test, you have your natural personality type, which is you're usually two. Like one is really, really high, and then there's another one, and then the other ones are kind of low. So usually you're two, like I'm a high S and C, right? But then you also have your adaptive style. I adapt to a high D, and I adapt to a DI because that's what y'all like. Y'all like the energy, y'all want all this. That's not naturally my style. Right? I have to adapt into that personality. I have to adapt into that style. So, Denise, that's a great idea. Find out who you are, right? And then also learn what each style is about, so then you can have those great interactions. I was talking to, was it Vanity? I don't know, somebody, and we were talking about her client, and her client just, everything she says, it's a battle, right? And I'm telling her, you're never gonna win that battle. Even though you're right and he's wrong, you're never gonna win because of his personality type. So you gotta stop being against him and then get on the same side as him, right? He's a D. He can't be wrong, period. They talked about that in script practice today, right? D's are not gonna be wrong. That's their fear, right? So now she has to switch her style to mirror and match with him so that they can get on the same page. What are your thoughts and feelings?
Hey, Alicia, good morning.
Hey, Joe.
One of the things I talked about, oh no, that wasn't a D, that was a C. I'm sorry. So let me before I get into the details, I'll say this. I definitely recognize the value of that, of being able to make a quick, sort of evaluation of who it is you're talking to. And based on that, you can have an understanding of where they're coming from without them necessarily telling you directly. So that you can alter but this is like a 200 or 300 level class, right? I mean, when you get to the point of, being able to adapt to that kind of a, different personality types, it's definitely a higher level skill. But I definitely see the value of that. And so I was laughing because we're talking this morning about C's and S. And my wife is definitely a CS personality. And I was laughing. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I was like, yes, I'm like nailing it. And if you don't understand that the way people perceive things, the way they respond to things has a lot to do with just their personality. It can create conflict, and it can create misunderstandings and all sorts of things that can happen that can come out of that. So you really have to be able to have an understanding and be empathetic in a sense to where people are coming from, and and be adaptive to it. So
Absolutely. You got to mirror and match that personality. It's really important that you identify who you're talking to, kind of, and I love how they were saying about doing a class on how do you identify. And the first thing that came to my head is when you go in asking a lot of questions and you know what the different personality types are, their answers will help you figure out who they are, right? Melissa said in the chat, with D's, it's all about positioning statements. When dealing with tech support customers, I provide options and let them decide. Exactly. With D's, it's got to be their idea. I don't care if it was your idea first. You got to they got to feel like it was their idea, and then they're all a go, right? That's exactly right. So when you know who you're dealing with, you can service your client better, right? There's some clients that want to see every single comp and read all the pages and all that, and then there's other people who skip to just the one page that says the price. Right? So if you know who you're dealing with, and then that one person who's like, hurry up in their mind, like you're taking too long, and you want to go through every single page of that scene, you have to adapt. Like there's times where I go on a listing appointment and I don't even pull the CMA out because I can tell through our conversation of what's happening. They don't care about that, right? Then there's some people where I have to really be detailed, and because they want every single detail. So you got to be able to give them every detail and it be accessible to them, and they feel good about that. So if you're one kind of style and you just keep doing your same style, you're not going to connect with everybody. You got to be able to identify. And like you said, Joe, that does come with kind of this is like higher level mastery kind of thing, but you have to know. I'd rather you start thinking about it now than wait. You know what I mean? This is stuff that you need to know. Any thoughts on that? What do you think? Do you know who you are?
Yeah, that's a good point. It starts with at least being aware that there are different styles. So when you start talking to people and you ask, enough questions, they'll give you a sense of, their style of communication. Also, the way people dress gives you a good idea of their style of communication. So, but it's good to at least be aware. And then, we need to take the training and get better at identifying with our conversation and with our eyes who we're dealing with.
Exactly, because depending on who you're dealing with is may determine what script you're going to use, right? Just like they were saying, how would you approach an S with a conversation about Keller covered, right? How would you approach that conversation with an S? Because they were talking about Keller covered, right? So if you don't know what Keller covered is, that's the insurance portion of Keller Williams.
Yeah, they talked about, they're concerned about, safety. And so you talk about the family, just talk about, being able to, what they said, you can rest easy at night, right? So it's safe. You got confident that everything is taken care of. You're, that kind of thing. That's going to be appealing to the S, I guess.
And I'm an S. So I'm like, oh yeah, that feels good to me. I like that. But what if I was a D? What do I want to hear if I'm a D?
Saving money.
Details.
Are you saving money? Right? What if I was an I?
You want to do what everybody else is doing.
Everybody's doing it. Right? And then what if they were a C?
They want all the deets.
All the details, okay? The numbers, the percentages, like 4 or 5 decimals after the point. Like they want all of it, right? So depending on who you're dealing with, and this goes for your buyers, not just sellers too, but your buyers too. So sometimes how you're working with a buyer and you're telling them This is what you have to do to win an offer. You have to bid above. You have to do that. And they're like, yeah, I want to put my offer in 5,000 under. And you're like, but I told you that's not going to win. This, that, and the third. Yep. But my dad said, you never pay full price. You always start under. Right? You can't keep telling them the same thing. They're never going to agree with you, right? So what kind of person is that? What kind of person is like, no, I don't care if there's cash offers 20,000 above, 10,000 under.
Homeless.
Homeless? Homeless.
That was good, Hank. That's good.
That's what they're gonna be. That's what they're gonna be.
They're gonna be homeless.
When they say hard head make for soft butt.
Uh-huh. So if you're dealing with that kind of buyer, how do you overcome that? How do you overcome when you're dealing with somebody who's like, nope, my friend who bought a house 20 years ago told me that this is how you're supposed to ask for closing costs. They should, and you're like, I'm sorry, I just told you there's offers cash. How do you overcome that?
Well, D, I mean, that's an interesting one. So that's an interesting thing, because if you're a D personality, I wouldn't necessarily see the D relying on their friend talking about what happened 20 years ago. I would imagine D's going to be about winning. Then it's a matter of defining what does a win look like, right? And if their idea of a win is a steal of a deal below ask, and you can say, look, I mean, I can show you the data that says that's not how it's working right now. And at some point, what I'm getting to is I just fast forward. If they're just stubborn, they don't want to do it. At some point, you'd say, okay, fine. You want to go, we'll play it, we'll do it your way.
Mm-hmm.
But after a couple of times, then whatever, we agree up front that once we do it your way a couple of times and it doesn't work, then we're going to do it my way.
Well, they should get tired of losing.
Huh?
They'll get tired of losing.
Yeah. I'm just saying you could preempt it with the conversation at the beginning, to kind of say, it's like saying I told you so without having to say I told you so, because you tell them.
They don't like
front.
that. They don't want it. They don't want, no, I told you so.
Oh,
right?
I know. You're not going to say it, but you tell them up front that, hey, that's not going to work. But let's go ahead. We'll do it your way.
Exactly. So you can't keep having a conversation like, you're going to lose this lie. You're not. Nope. Just write the offer. It takes you 10 minutes. Write the offer. Let them do it. Let them be in control, because that's what they want. And then after a while, like Hank said, after they lose, that's going to hit another part of their D personality and be like, first of all, I ain't gonna lose. Okay. What I ain't doing is losing. Okay. And then when you provide them the options to make them in a winning position. So if they're a buyer, what is one thing that you can do to put them in a winning position? What's winning offers right now?
Gotta make them a cash buyer.
Make them a cash buyer. Right? How do we make them a cash buyer?
Ribbon, Divvy, Home Partners of America.
Right. So if you're not familiar with these programs, you know what I've been noticing lately is that they've been talking a lot about Keller Mortgage, Keller Covered, Keller Offers, right? We got Ribbon, Divvy, Home Partners of America. Like, if you don't know all these programs, then it's, or Homeward and stuff like that. Who was I with yesterday? I was with somebody yesterday, and she was saying that she has a client that needs to sell a house in North Carolina and buy a house here, right? So he's having hesitation on buying the house here because it's so hard for buyers right now, and his buy would be contingent upon the sale of his house. And she was like, he's just gonna wait. And I was like, wait, what? What for what? What are you waiting for? At some point, you're still gonna be contingent upon the sale of a house. What's the option that she should give that client?
Homeward or that knock thing that Falana Shay taught us about.
Yep, homeward or knock, right? So that's a deal that she was about to let go of because she didn't remember about homeward. You know what I'm saying? So there's potential deals out there that you may be letting slip out your hands because you're not presenting all the options. Your job as a real estate agent is to provide information. So therefore, your job as a real estate agent is to learn the information, to provide it. It's just no getting around that. You have to keep yourself informed. Nobody is gonna come to you and be like, hey, you need to know about that. You need to know about that, right? You got to be proactive and be here. We talk about it every day, every day. So if you're here every day, you know exactly what we're talking about, right? So, there's stuff going on in the chat. Corey, Zoom user, I'm still having trouble with my cash buyers. What do you mean? Put it in the chat.
Hey, Alicia, how you doing?
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, my issue that I'm having with the buyer is he's approved for $275. Well, he has $275 to shop around with, but he only wants to look at things that don't give us much room. He only wants to look at things that are like $260, $265, and our offers are being, beat by people offering more. So, I mean, at this point, we've entered maybe 4 or 5 offers on different properties, and we haven't been successful. So now I'm at the point where, I'm telling him, let's look for something that is in a different price range, but he is not listening.
So let me ask you this, other than the price, how else is your offer structured? Like your due diligence, your contingencies?
Due diligence of 7 days.
7?
The only stipulation.
Done right there.
Yeah,
done. You ain't have to say nothing else. 7.
7.
Mm-mm.
7 days.
Yep, that's it right there.
Because of the program that he's approved with is Dream America.
Well, you're going to have to call your rep at Dream America and let them know you cannot do those. Now, ask the person at Dream America, can they do 0 due diligence, 7-day right to inspect?
0 days. Okay. All right. Let me write that down. Okay.
With just the right to inspect.
So I'm sorry, Alicia, can you elaborate on why that 7-day contingency will be a problem?
Because it's too long. In this market, due diligences are like 3 days.
It won't work because my offer is going to be 3 days due diligence. That's why. Everybody else is going to be shorter.
I understand what you guys are saying, but it's interesting. I did have I got a client who's closing on Monday, who's was a ribbon client. Ribbon requires
7 days.
8 days. 8 days.
8.
8 days.
Not my rep. Not my rep.
I think they'll alter if you call them and say, listen, this not going to work. They'll alter some of those terms.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm just saying we did get they're getting ready to close. So, but yeah. So I mean, I understand what you're saying though. I mean, those contingencies and due diligences, they will separate you. I think in our case, I'm pretty confident that the price was.
You had the highest price.
Was good, yeah.
Right. So if you're not the highest price, you got to be the best terms. So as a listing agent, I have a spreadsheet. So as the offers come in, I'm lining them up. I'm putting them in order by price. Then right up under price, I have like due diligence days, financing type, how much they're willing to pay over appraised value, all that. So when your offer comes in, depending on it's going to be price and then your terms. Because if your price is too low, they don't care about your terms, right? So you got to be competitive in price to get it into the first couple of rows, and then your terms got to be right. You know what I'm saying? So what's another thing that Corey could do to help her buyer out about the price part? She said that his max is 275, and he's looking at houses at like 265, too close to his price range.
Does he have any cash to go above list?
He doesn't want to contribute any cash to the price.
Why is he buying a house?
He's relocating from Michigan. So
Okay.
and he's an agent. He's an agent.
That guy, oh God,
Yes,
this guy.
yes, God.
So
This
if we had to guess, what kind of personality is he?
Cheap.
One that's driving me nuts. That's what it
Sounds like a D.
is.
He's
He gotta be right.
Yes.
He's going to have to learn from experience.
he must not be a very active agent.
No, he's not. No, he was maybe, I think the last time was maybe 2 years ago, he told me.
Yeah, so he's relocating from Michigan. Does he have to
Yes.
be here by a certain time frame?
Yes, by the end of the year for work.
Okay, by the end of the year. Okay, so if he doesn't get a house before the end of the year, then what's his other option?
We haven't discussed that.
That might be a conversation.
Okay.
Because right now, he's still got time. You know what I'm saying? He ain't pressed yet. And depending on what his options are, you know, okay, you want to buy a house because you're relocating here. Okay, great. What's important about that? I need to be here by the end of the year. Okay, great. What's going to happen if you don't get here by the end of the year in a house? Then he'll have to do what?
How's that going to feel?
Rent.
Does he, how many kids? He got dogs? What,
No.
what? I mean, how, is he moving from one house to another house? How hard is it to move from a house to an apartment with all your stuff? Especially if you have dogs. If you got dogs, any pets, that's a killer right there.
I know it's just him by himself. He doesn't have a family at the moment. He's moving from a house.
Okay, so I would ask him what's going to happen if we don't get the house by December.
Okay.
And explain to him that you don't want to pay rent in Atlanta. Rent in Atlanta is through the roof, and there's shortages even on getting rentals.
Okay. True.
So you kind of have to go ahead, Joe.
No, I'm sorry. I was just saying, yeah, he's got to have some fear of, you know, not making it happen. So
So what's the bold law? Logic makes you think, emotions make you act. We need him to act right. So we got to get up in his feelings, okay? We got to put him in a state of fear of what that negative, you know, we talk about that positive future and negative future, right? Positive future, he's living in this house that he, you know, whatever. And then the negative future is then what? What does that look like? Because the more he continues this is going to be the reality here, right?
True.
And on top of rent, he probably have to pay storage if he's moving from a house.
yeah,
He's not gonna be able to fit all his stuff in an apartment.
That's a good point.
and
Right.
and somebody was talking. They were talking about I forget where it was. Somewhere over the last couple of days. It might have been this morning. I don't know. They were saying how most people run right. You can run towards opportunity or run from right something you're afraid of or whatever, right? Run from fear. And most people spend most of their time running from as opposed to running two. So if you can, all those things that were shared in terms of, hey, additional costs, the inconvenience, whatever those pain points are going to be. And like Alicia was saying, the emotion of that is more likely to get him to act just based on human nature.
Okay. I'm writing everything down. So we're scheduled to talk today at 10:30. Hopefully this will be the conversation that'll be the shifting point. Because right now it's starting to, I just want to get it done, get it closed.
I'm telling you, that'll get you close. What were you about to say,
Okay.
Joe?
Thank you guys.
All right. So I just wanted to share something, Alicia. This something that struck me this morning, I think on the James Shaw call, that really resonated with me. And he was talking about, well, it's two things. One, he talked about just the idea of creating community and how when there's a sense of community that people will stay, right? People want to stay connected to community. So that was one idea. The other thing was, he was talking to, I think Marilyn Burke was talking, and he mentioned, he said, really, you have a responsibility to share the learnings and the different things that that you're getting from the pivot shift call, and that idea of a responsibility. And so this is how I related both of those. Yesterday I had an opportunity, to I think I called Alicia. She wasn't available at the time, and so I called someone else who may or may not be on the call, and so it was just good who, they were able to kind of talk me through a situation, whatever, just kind of give me some perspective. And it really struck me that, when you have people who, if you're in an environment, you have people who are successful, who are, doing things, got busy lives, whatever, that will take time to, share some wisdom, share some insight, some knowledge or whatever with you. You do have a responsibility. I do feel a sense of responsibility, even with, people who might be in PC or anybody, whatever, on the team, whatever, who might have a question about something. And, every once in a while I'll have somebody call me and, ask me about something, whatever. I do feel a sense of responsibility to be able to give of, what's been given to me. And I do think that creates, it's part of that community, and feeling like, you're part of a community where you can be supported, you can be, lifted up, whatever, encouraged, and get the help that we need. So, and I just wanted to share that. I really do feel that. I feel the need of it. I feel the connection with, the KW Tucker team and PC, in particular. And so anyhow, I'll just some thoughts I had from this morning.
I love that. And you know what? That makes it's like confirmation, like, yes, we are doing the right thing. We are making agents feel supported. We are making sure that you have a community and a tribe to help you succeed in real estate. This is so hard to do on your own. It's very hard to do on your own. So when you have that community and you have that support, like if somebody don't answer, somebody else gonna answer. You always gonna have somebody there that's gonna help you through. And then as you're being helped, you help other people, and that just continues that growing, of this community, and we're all helping each other. And I just big heart to that, Joe. I love that.
Well, hey, I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
And we are so grateful for you as well. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up because Culture Committee is jumping on. One last thought I wanted to leave you with that I wrote down this morning. I think it was James or the script practice. They said, are you a hunter or are you a farmer in your real estate business? Are you a hunter? Are you out there like, you know what I'm saying? Like stalking or are you a farmer? You just watering your crop and just waiting for everything to bloom, and then those bloom, and then so what kind of business, real estate business, are you running? You a hunter or you a farmer, right? Farming's gonna take a little bit longer, but you're gonna eat way longer, okay? So it's all good. Everybody take a deep breath in. Let's get our energy going and flowing. It's a fantastic Friday to go out there and provide information and be part of our community because we are money magnets. Money flows through us easily and freely.
Freely.
We are listing
Listing
experts and
experts.
magnets. And we're the kings and queens of follow up. At least 8 touches to earn the business. All right, you guys have a fantastic day. And if you're in culture committee, go ahead and stay on. Heart you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.